day grade 4s. I hope you are all doing well. It's time for our history lesson, and today we are on the topic, transport through time. We will be talking about transport in the air. I hope you are ready to learn before I fly away. Before we go into the lesson, let's look at the things we will cover in this lesson. We will look at the first attempts by humans to fly. After this, we will look at the invention of the hot air balloon. Following the invention of the hot air balloons, humans began to make airships. These are large aircrafts without wings. We will also look at a famous airship in history known as the Hindenburg and the terrible accident it is known for. From airships, we will look at aeroplanes and the different types of aeroplanes that were invented. These include jet aeroplanes, helicopters, and the Concorde. We will also talk about the first people to invent the aeroplane. Lastly, we will talk about space travel and space shuttles. Do you want to go to space one day? I am too scared to go to space. Before attempting to fly, humans observed birds and insects flying. Leonardo da Vinci, in the 15th century, drew sketches of wing designs inspired by birds. His designs included flapping wings and mechanisms meant to mimic bird flight. In these early stages of learning to fly, humans made wings that were made of feathers and wood. They then attached these wings to their arms and tried to fly just like birds do. These earliest attempts to fly were not successful. Despite the lack of success with wings attached to humans, the desire to fly inspired engineers and scientists to continue exploring new methods of flying. The hot air balloon was invented by the Montgolfier brothers in France in 1783. The Montgolfier brothers became fascinated by the idea of flying and were inspired by the idea of using heated air to fly. They conducted many experiments and observations of fire and smoke, which led them to the discovery that heated air is lighter than the surrounding air and could be used to lift objects. They then made a fire under a huge balloon attached to a basket. Hot air entered the balloon and made it rise. The initial test flight had animals as the passengers, and in this first flight a sheep, rooster, and duck were the first passengers. This was done to test if it was safe to fly humans on the hot air balloon, and after the success of the initial flight, humans also became passengers in a hot air balloon. The success of the Montgolfier brothers with the hot air balloon marked a crucial step in the history of flight, inspiring further advancements in aviation. After the hot air balloon, the airship was invented. An airship is a large balloon with a sausage shape. To achieve lift and stay in the air, an airship is filled with light gases, usually helium or hydrogen. Helium and hydrogen are lighter than air, and this makes the airship to rise. These gases are also known as lifting gases. Airships can also be steered in a certain direction. Airships come in various sizes and designs, but they generally fall into two main categories. The first ones are rigid airships and are also known as zeppelins. The second type of airships are non-rigid airships and are known as blimps. Rigid airships have a framework or internal structure that maintains the envelope's shape. These rigid airships or zeppelins were widely used for passenger travel, military reconnaissance, and even dropping bombs during World War I. Non-rigid airships, also known as blimps, lack a rigid internal structure. Blimps are often used for advertising. The Hindenburg was a famous German passenger airship, and in 1937 the airship flew from Germany to the United States, crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The Hindenburg met a catastrophic end in a fiery crash on the 6th of May, 1937, in New Jersey. Carrying passengers and hydrogen gas, the airship caught fire during landing, leading to the loss of 36 lives. This disaster marked the decline of passenger airships and highlighted the dangers of using flammable hydrogen as a lifting gas. The public viewed airship travel as too dangerous and airships were never used again for travel. Next, you will see real footage of the Hindenburg disaster.
Nearing the fatal end of her first Atlantic trip of the season, the Hindenburg approaches the mooring mast at Lakehurst. 21 of these Sky voyages the world's biggest dirigible has made, so safely, so surely that the experimental service has become a matter of routine. Scarcely 100 feet above ground, the giant airship with her framework encasing 7 million cubic feet of inflammable gas is being carefully maneuvered towards her hangar, when suddenly... Inexplicable, appalling tragedy is a matter of seconds. It seems almost incredible that anyone should escape. Yet 2/3 of those on board survive what is, next to the R-101 disaster, the worst in the history of aviation.
The most significant milestone in human flight was achieved by the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, in 1903. The Wright brothers were self-taught inventors who pioneered the invention of the airplane. They designed, built, and flew the first successful powered aircraft in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Through meticulous research, glider experiments, they achieved the first powered flight on the 17th of December, 1903. This plane, known as the Wright Flyer, flew for 12 seconds, covering about 36 meters. From 1904 onwards, the Wright brothers, they focused on refining their aircraft design, improving their control system, and conducting further flight experiments to enhance their understanding of flight dynamics. In 1904, they had the Wright Flyer I, which had propellers and motor and flew for 5 minutes. In 1905, the Wright Flyer II flew for more than half an hour. In 1908, their plane flew for over 1 hour. The Wright brothers made their first public flights in Europe and America in 1908, bringing their invention to the masses. Wright developed and tested a plane for the U.S. War Department in 1908. And in 1911 the Wright brothers flew across the United States in 84 days. This groundbreaking achievement proved the viability of controlled, powered flight and laid the foundation for modern aviation. The brothers' innovative contributions reshaped transportation, leading to rapid advancements in aviation technology and opening new frontiers for human exploration. In Germany, Hans von Ohain also developed a functional jet engine which powered the world's first operational jet aircraft in 1939. Jet aircraft are aircraft that are propelled by jet engines that push air backwards and they do not have propellers. Jet engines are powerful and this enables jet aircraft to travel at much higher speeds, making long-distance travel more time-efficient. Jet aircraft is different from propeller aircraft. Propeller aircraft have engines in the front that turn big, spinning fans called propellers. Propeller aircraft operate at lower speeds and altitude. Propeller aircraft are suitable for shorter distances. They are good for shorter trips, like going to a nearby town, and have a distinct noise level. Jet aircraft are propelled by jet engines that push high-speed gases backwards. They achieve higher speeds and altitudes, making them ideal for longer distances. They are quieter at cruising speeds, commonly used in commercial travel and military operations. Jet aircrafts have a speed of 955 km per hour, and this is the reason why air transport is very fast. The helicopter is a remarkable aircraft that can take off, land, and hover in one place. The idea of a machine that could fly like a helicopter dates back to ancient times. The word helicopter comes from the Greek words helix meaning spiral and pteron meaning wing. Igor Sikorsky, working from 1919 to 1939, made significant strides in helicopter design. He built the VS-300, which became the world's first successful helicopter in 1939. This marked a major step in making helicopters a reality. Since then, helicopters have seen technological advancements. They were used in World War II for various roles, including bombing, medical evacuation, and reconnaissance. The Concorde was a supersonic passenger aircraft developed in the 1960s as a joint project between the British and French aerospace industries. It held the distinction of being one of the fastest commercial aircraft ever built, capable of flying at speeds exceeding twice the speed of sound. The Concorde could fly at speeds of up to Mach 2.04 or 2,180 km per hour, allowing it to cross the Atlantic Ocean in about half the time of normal aircraft. The Concorde faced significant safety challenges, including crashes, which led to a temporary suspension of flights. Added to this, the Concorde faced more challenges including rising maintenance costs and lower passenger numbers. The last commercial Concorde flight took place in 2003 from France to New York, marking the end of an era in supersonic commercial aviation. Human fascination with space dates back centuries, but it wasn't until recently that technology began to catch up with these dreams. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite. Laika, a stray dog from Moscow, in Russia, became the first living creature in space aboard the Soviet spacecraft Sputnik 2 in 1957. The dog's mission aimed to study the effects of space travel on living organisms. Unfortunately, the technology at the time couldn't bring her back, and she passed away a few hours after launch due to the challenges of space. While tragic, Laika's mission provided useful information on making spacesuits. In 1961, a Russian astronaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit Earth aboard a spacecraft. After this, Valentina Tereshkova, a Russian, was the first woman in space in June 1963. The United States Apollo program aimed for the Moon, and in 1969, Apollo 11's Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the Moon's surface. The Space Shuttle program was an initiative by NASA, the United States Space Agency, to develop reusable spacecraft for taking humans and satellites to space. Space shuttles operated from 1981 to 2011. A key innovation was the shuttle's ability to launch like a rocket and return to Earth like an airplane, making it possible to use the same vehicle to go to space many times. This was intended to make spaceflight more affordable and cheap. The program faced challenges, including the tragic accidents of Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986 and Space Shuttle Columbia in 2003, resulting in the loss of both crews. The Space Shuttle played a crucial role in building the International Space Station by delivering equipment and astronauts to the station. The Space Shuttle program concluded in 2011 with the final mission of Space Shuttle Atlantis, marking the end of an era in shuttle spaceflight. Private companies such as SpaceX, owned by Elon Musk, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are making space travel cheaper and accessible. NASA has plans to return to the Moon and reach Mars and explore the deep space. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. But before you go, can you define the following terms?